We like to think we're logical beings. We weigh the pros and cons, we analyze the data. But what if your emotions were actually the driving force behind your decisions? Think about it. Have you ever made a choice that logically made no sense, yet it felt so right? Those moments when our heart wins out over our head aren't lapses in judgment, they're glimpses into the true power of emotions. Emotions are often portrayed as the enemy of reason. But what if, instead of fearing our emotions, we embrace them as powerful decision-making tools? Imagine a world where we didn't shy away from our feelings, but listened to the wisdom they held. To make truly informed decisions, we need to bring our emotions into the fold. Emotions are that compass. They guide us towards a more authentic and fulfilling life. Our emotions are not random, fleeting sensations. They provide invaluable insights into what truly matters to us. When we ignore our emotions, we disconnect from this inner guidance system. The power of emotions lies in their ability to connect us to our authentic selves. By learning to listen to our emotions, we unlock a wellspring of wisdom. Logic and emotion are complementary aspects of what it means to be human. We've all been there. That moment when you're scrolling online and stumble across an irresistible deal. Logic screams, "You don't need this," but emotions urge you to click Add to Basket. The world of online shopping is designed to entice our emotions. Flashing banners and countdown timers trigger a sense of urgency. Retailers know that tapping into our emotions is the key to unlocking our wallets. You might think logic prevails in important life decisions, but not so fast. Research by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio revealed that emotions are integral to our ability to make decisions. Patients with damage to the part of their brains responsible for processing emotions struggled to make even simple decisions. Damasio's research showed that emotions provide us with essential information. They guide us towards choices that align with our values and well-being. Emotions are a kind of internal compass. Think about a time you had a gut feeling about something. Perhaps you were offered a new job that ticked all the boxes on paper, but something felt off. Ignoring that feeling, you accept the job, only to discover later that your gut was right. Our logical minds are not always equipped to detect subtle cues. Emotions pick up on these nuances and guide us towards opportunities that resonate with our deepest desires. Ignoring emotional signals can lead us down unfulfilling paths. Antonio Damasio's work on the role of emotions in decision-making was paradigm-shifting. He revealed that emotions are fundamental to our ability to make choices. Patients with damage to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex struggled with everyday decisions. Without emotional input, they were trapped in endless deliberation. Emotions connect options to our likes, dislikes, and preferences. They are essential for making choices. Building on Damasio's work, LeDoux explored the neural pathways of emotions, focusing on fear. He discovered two distinct pathways for processing fear: a rapid, unconscious route and a slower, deliberate pathway. The rapid route allows us to react swiftly to potential threats. Imagine encountering a snake. Your body reacts before your mind processes the threat. This primal survival mechanism has served us well for millennia. The slower pathway allows for nuanced evaluation and response. Damasio and LeDoux's research offers profound insights into decision-making. Emotions are not disruptive forces, but integral components of a sophisticated guidance system. Think about a time you had a gut feeling about something that defied logical explanation. Perhaps a job offer seemed perfect on paper, but something felt off. This is the voice of your intuition, a complex interplay of emotions and subconscious cues. Emotions guide us toward choices that align with our deepest values. Intuition is a highly sophisticated form of intelligence. It synthesizes vast amounts of information into rapid, intuitive judgments. Our intuitions are rooted in a lifetime of accumulated knowledge and experiences. In decision-making, intuition serves as a powerful ally. It guides us toward choices that resonate with our deepest values and aspirations. Trusting our intuitions can lead to greater fulfillment and alignment in our lives. Meet Sarah, a marketing executive who epitomized logic and data-driven decisions. Her career flourished, but her personal life lacked vibrancy and fulfillment. Her relationships felt transactional, lacking warmth and spontaneity. Sarah's logical approach propelled her career but held her back from experiencing emotional richness. She realized that logic alone couldn't provide the full spectrum of human connection. Embracing emotions could lead to a more fulfilling life. As Sarah's career continued its upward trajectory, a nagging sense of emptiness began to creep into the corners of her life. The thrill of each promotion, each successful campaign seemed to fade more quickly than the last, leaving in its wake a hollow echo of what she had hoped to feel. She had achieved the success she had always striven for, yet it felt strangely unsatisfying, like a perfectly staged photograph lacking the warmth and spontaneity of a genuine moment captured in time. Her evenings, once filled with networking events and industry functions, now stretched before her, empty and devoid of meaningful connection. She found herself scrolling through social media, bombarded with images of friends and acquaintances seemingly living their best lives, laughing, loving, experiencing the world with an openness and vulnerability that she envied. The stark contrast between these vibrant snapshots of life and the sterile perfection of her own carefully curated existence became increasingly difficult to ignore. The more Sarah achieved, the more she realized that something was missing, a vital ingredient that no amount of professional success could ever replace. The realization dawned slowly, like a sunrise gradually illuminating a darkened landscape. She had spent years honing her intellect, mastering the art of logic, suppressing her emotions in the pursuit of achievement. Yet in doing so, she had inadvertently built walls around her heart, isolating herself from the very experiences that gave life meaning and purpose. The thought, once it took root, blossomed with unsettling clarity. She had achieved everything she thought she wanted, but in the process she had lost sight of what truly mattered. The turning point came unexpectedly during a routine checkup with her doctor. The doctor, a kind older woman, gently interrupted Sarah's list of accomplishments. "And how are you feeling, Sarah?" she asked softly. The simple question caught Sarah off guard. She had prioritized her to-do list over her well-being. The doctor's concern made her walls crumble. Tears welled up, surprising both of them. She hadn't cried in years, seeing it as weakness. Now emotions poured out: loneliness, exhaustion, fear. The doctor listened patiently as Sarah shared her story. When Sarah finished, the doctor suggested therapy. At first, Sarah resisted the idea. Therapy was for people with real problems, she thought, but the doctor's words stayed with her. Sometimes the bravest journey is the one inward. Therapy for Sarah was like stepping into a world she never knew existed. It was a space where vulnerability was not a weakness but a strength, where emotions were not burdens to be suppressed but valuable sources of information, where the pursuit of authenticity and self-discovery took precedence over external markers of success. Week after week, Sarah found herself delving deeper into the labyrinth of her own heart, guided by the therapist's gentle but insightful questions. She began to explore the patterns of thought and behavior that had kept her emotionally distant, the fear of failure that had driven her relentless pursuit of achievement, the belief that vulnerability equated weakness. One particularly poignant session focused on Sarah's interactions with her team. She had always prided herself on her professionalism, her ability to maintain a cool head and make decisions based on logic and data. But as she shared anecdotes about her team dynamics, the therapist gently pointed out a recurring theme: Sarah's tendency to dismiss her team's emotions, to prioritize efficiency over empathy, to prioritize results over relationships. "It's not that you don't care, Sarah," the therapist observed. "It's that you've been conditioned to believe that emotions are distractions, obstacles to be overcome rather than valuable sources of information." The realization struck Sarah with the force of a revelation. She had been so focused on being the strong one, the one who always had it together, that she had inadvertently created a wall between herself and her team, stifling creativity, collaboration, and genuine connection. And the journey to integrate her emotions into her life was not without its challenges. There were moments of self-doubt, times when she questioned everything she thought she knew about herself, instances when she felt like she was taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But with each stumble, with each act of vulnerability, Sarah felt a growing sense of liberation, a lightness she had never before experienced. She began to practice mindfulness, learning to observe her emotions without judgment, to acknowledge their presence without allowing them to dictate her reactions. She started journaling, using it as a space to process her feelings, to identify triggers, and to cultivate a greater sense of self-awareness. She made a conscious effort to be more present in her interactions with others, to listen with empathy, to express her own emotions with authenticity, to create space for vulnerability in her relationships. The transformation, both inward and outward, was remarkable. Sarah's leadership style shifted from one of detached efficiency to one of inspired collaboration. She learned to leverage the power of emotional intelligence, not only in her own decision-making, but also in her ability to connect with and motivate her team. Her relationships, too, underwent a profound shift. She began to prioritize quality time with loved ones, engaging in heartfelt conversations, expressing her appreciation openly, allowing herself to be vulnerable and receive love and support in return. Life for Sarah was no longer about compartmentalizing, about suppressing parts of herself to fit a predetermined mold. It was about embracing the full spectrum of her humanity, about integrating her intellect with her intuition, her logic with her emotions, her head with her heart. And in that integration, in that delicate dance between seemingly opposing forces, Sarah discovered a strength, a resilience, and a depth of fulfillment she had never before thought possible. We've journeyed through the fascinating landscape of our minds, explored the surprising power of emotions, and witnessed the limitations of logic's reign. Now it's time to weave it all together, to understand how these seemingly disparate forces, logic and emotion, can harmonize to create a symphony of self, a life lived with both wisdom and wonder. For too long, we've bought into the false dichotomy of head versus heart, logic versus emotion, as if these fundamental aspects of our being were engaged in a perpetual tug-of-war. We've been taught to value logic, to prioritize reason, to suppress our emotions, as if these vibrant expressions of our humanity were somehow inferior, disruptive forces to be tamed and controlled. But what if we've got it all wrong? What if, instead of viewing logic and emotion as adversaries, we embrace them as equal partners in the intricate dance of decision-making, each contributing its unique strengths to guide us toward a more fulfilling and meaningful life? Imagine for a moment a world where we no longer feared our emotions, but instead welcomed them as trusted advisors, as messengers from the deepest parts of ourselves, offering invaluable insights into our values, our desires, and our truest aspirations. Imagine a world where logic, stripped of its tyrannical grip on our decision-making processes, was free to do what it does best. Analyze data, weigh probabilities, and devise strategies, all the while guided by the compass of our hearts, the wisdom of our intuition, the sheer joy of feeling fully alive. This is the promise of an emotionally intelligent life, a life where we acknowledge and honor the full spectrum of our humanity, the good, the bad, the messy, the beautiful, and embrace the transformative power of integrating our intellect with our intuition, our logic with our emotions. Emotional intelligence is not about suppressing our feelings or letting them run wild. It's about developing a deep understanding of our own emotional landscape and learning to navigate it with skill and compassion. It's about recognizing that our emotions, far from being weaknesses to be overcome, are valuable sources of information, guiding us toward choices that align with our values and aspirations. Think of it this way. Logic, with its focus on analysis and deduction, is like a skilled mapmaker, charting the terrain of our lives, identifying potential routes and obstacles. Emotions, on the other hand, are like the seasoned explorers, equipped with compasses and instincts honed through experience, guiding us toward destinations that resonate with our deepest desires and values. When we learn to integrate these two forces, when we allow logic and emotion to work in concert, we unlock a level of wisdom and discernment that transcends the limits of either system operating in isolation. We become, in essence, the architects of our own lives, capable of making choices that not only make sense on paper, but also feel deeply aligned with who we are and what we truly desire. How do we balance logic and emotion in our daily lives? Listen to your emotions with curiosity and compassion. When faced with a decision, pause and tune into your body's wisdom. Acknowledge your emotions and explore their messages. Positive emotions often indicate alignment with your values. Anxiety can be a warning sign of misaligned priorities. Emotions are advisors, not dictators. Weigh them against logic to make balanced choices. Embrace the full spectrum of your emotions. In feeling deeply, we find wisdom and courage for a meaningful life.